This is Corvo's mask. It looks freaking awesome because it's a badass mask, and this is how I made it. So go to Thingiverse and find the Corvo mask made by this guy. So you're going to want to print it, and I use this printer and I also use this other printer. It doesn't really matter. I also use blue, black, and white PLA. The printing process is actually kind of long. Each half of the mask was about 8 hours, so it's a kind of a long project. Okay, so after you print the parts, just gather them in a bag or something so they don't get lost. You have all these really small pieces. And you're going to want to get sandpaper, and you want to sand the outside until you can't see it shine anymore. And if it does, it's not much. Set yourself up so you can spray all angles and then spray it with the first coat. This is after I've done the denatured alcohol. Look pretty good. Yeah. So after that first spray, I went back and I sanded in the areas that needed a little bit more work. And I sprayed it again until it was as smooth as I wanted it to be. After your sanding process is done and you have it at a point that you like it, spray the flat black, and this will be the base color for the whole mask. I used a very old airbrush and various mixtures of matte gray, metal gray, water, and acetone, which can actually dissolve some spray paints, so watch out. And also this process is largely up to you, because I can't really tell you exactly what color I used and where I put it, and plus this is only the second time I've ever used an airbrush, so I'm not really an expert. I made lots of mistakes and I had to reference pictures on the internet to get the right color, but I can't tell you what I generally try to do. I would add highlights with the matte gray and highlight that over again with the metal gray. I actually made the mistake of prematurely painting the gold areas. Don't do that. It's a real pain to cover it and try to spray paint those small sections of metal. I found this cool effect that simulated metal. I would take the metal gray and spray it in spurts at a distance. Watch out for what's behind it because I was accidentally spraying my dad's gun. The metal gray mixed with, I think it was acetone, or maybe it was water, I'm not really sure, would make a really cool spatter effect right here. And it would make it look like a combined mixture of metals. Also, matching all the pieces together was a real issue. Like the halves of the mask wouldn't match, or the jaws wouldn't match each other or to the mask. And it took a real artist's eye to see and correct that, so I enlisted my dad to help me, and we talked things over and how to fix them or make them more closely related to each other. The last part of painting are these two spots that were really hard to paint because I couldn't figure out what color they were. I thought it was really light at first, but then if you go back and you check online pictures or you look at the cover of the game on whatever console you're playing, it's not a light color, it's just a reflection. So I was talking to my dad and he convinced me that you use a glossy dark gray, and that is the color of these two spots. That's what I chose. And this is the final product. I'm actually pretty proud of it. It looks like it does in the pictures. So cut out the red felt according to the pattern it gives you on Thingiverse. and you'll notice it doesn't fit. And you can see this is where the line used to be, and I added this little triangle, and I cut this to match the shape of what it would be if it laid inside. I thought this was fine, I just made it a little bit more round. So you can use it as a template, but don't actually use that exact shape. Test it with the paper on one half of your mask just to see if it fits. And then cut it how you want it to fit. I cut the burlap over the mouth and neck area very jagged to give more of a worn look, and snip the extra hanging strands. After these two pieces were cut, for glue to put them together, I just used a generic fabric glue, and I pressed them together, the red felt and the burlap, and put them under a school textbook I was using, like biology or chemistry, and let it sit for overnight, and then it was perfect. Okay, for assembling the inside, I wouldn't recommend spray painting it gold first. I just did it to see if this was the gold I wanted. I would recommend actually building the inside first. So what you do is get the Dremel. First pieces I welded were these little pieces, which should have actually just been printed on as a full piece, but weren't. The white pieces to the gold. It's kind of a dumb design, but it's okay. I just welded on, no biggie. Second one, these kind of go into place. You don't actually have to weld them, you just snap them in. You might have to file the holes down. But look at these pieces. This is how the assembly is supposed to go. So first, second, third, those little tiny pieces at the top on both sides. And then keep looking at this. This is what helps you a lot. You can see inside what connects to what, and I'm just starting at the eyes because that's the focal point, that's the center, and then I'll radiate probably up and out up here, and then I'll go to the ear parts and do that. The areas near the temples where the corner of the glasses would be are super fragile. I had to add supports so it didn't break, and I just used extra filament that I had. So here's the completed left side. If you notice, the design of the inside is only connected by 2 points at the top. These overarching parts, that's black right there. And so the half swing, so I connected it on the bridge of the nose, and that gives it some more support. I've seen people use copper wire. I use gold. I think it's like a 1 to 1.5 millimeters. These are the only parts of wire that can be hooked around and don't need any welding. This is the complicated part. There are 3 connections that connect the mask over the fabric and the wire frame. So to get those 3 holes, you have to melt the wire and burn it through one half of the mask and use glue to keep it there. The other side of the mask has to have pre-burned holes and glue on the wire ready so that when you put them together, they will fit and stay together. There is extra fabric on the forehead, so what I did to accommodate that is I cut 3 slits so that the fabric could slide over each other. For the jaw pieces, I referenced pictures back on the internet of the mask and found an angle that I liked and just welded them straight on. The gold wiring I broke up into pieces so that I could easily put them down but make it look coherent. Here's the Corvo mask. done, looking freaking glorious. It doesn't have any weathering on it. It's very pristine, and I kind of like it like that. I also built a stand for it because you have to display this beauty. It's nothing, extraordinary, it's just some wood. But it propped it up in a way that I thought was nice. So without further ado, I proudly present the Corvo mask in this nice demonstration. Thanks for watching. If you got to this point, it took me like half a year because I'm in college and I left it at home. But it looks really nice for a 3D print. I hope to do more like this, maybe a little bit more fun. I don't know. It was hard to make this video because I'm very shy about my voice. Or me, so that's why I'm not really in it, but there it is. Thank you. What is wrong with my Zoom?